So the first question was about the challenges for the community to be self-sustaining. Questions came up or issues came up around limitations in infrastructure, especially water and sewer, lack of doctor's offices, loss of the school, divisions over the issues of development, the demographics of the community with the aging population, that it's divided internally between the north, center, and the south areas, and this is partly due to water systems, and then the socioeconomic range within the community, limited options for seniors, although there are many seniors living there, and then lack of connection to the rest of the valley. There was a perception that they kind of were being left behind and not seen as an integrated or important part of the Comox Valley. And related to that, somebody said, well, Union Bay is the gateway to the region, so we need to take advantage of our position and build on it, become a destination, beautify the boat launch, that kind of thing. There seems to be a lot of assets in the community that people believe that can be built on, but at the same time there are a number of issues facing the community. One of which is the whole question of affordable housing, whether that's there, whether there's amenities for aging in place. The whole question, because there's a lot of industry in the Union Bay area, between the pristine, trying to maintain a pristine environment, but also encourage industry. So this is all, I guess, in relation to the question about what's needed to be sustainable. A lot of home-based businesses that was needed in the area, craft, artisanal type production. So Union Bay could be a destination, place where people could just hang out, they could go swimming, there was a change room there, it was a place to meet, chat. The community used to have a dance hall, and so on and so forth. And so as the community has been kind of shrinking, the idea is, can we reinstate a community gathering place? Can we rebuild some of these assets that we had before? It will need money and permission, so that's acknowledged. But the suggestion is that right there at the head of the bay, it might be possible to do something that's community-oriented around shops and beach and parks and so on and so forth. One question that was raised is, should we change our governance structure? Should we go from being an unincorporated area and part of the regional district electoral area to becoming a municipality? And of course, there's costs and benefits related to that particular question, and that's not something we're going to be resolving in the course of the local area plan. One of the questions that was posed again was, what is the pace of growth that's desired? So the Kensington project is a huge project with a huge land base in the Union Bay area. So we had the developer here, and he spoke to give the community an update on the Kensington project. So basically the message is that the project can't proceed until the contamination issue is resolved. The prescription itself about how it's going to be resolved has been agreed to, but the outstanding issue with the other property owner is long-term liability. So there's ongoing negotiations about that, and until those questions are resolved, they can't start with the environmental cleanup. So after the environmental cleanup is completed, and he has no assurances about what kind of time frame that would be, then the water system can be upgraded as is indicated as part of the master development agreement, and that can be done, he's been assured, within 14 weeks after resolution of the contamination issue. The wastewater treatment plant would then be the next phase, and that would take about 5 months. And then the initial phase of housing construction, which he's anticipating as being about 150 doors or 150 units. So after the water system is in place, then they might be on the market 1 year. There were concerns raised about who is it going to be marketed to, and he indicated that it was going to be a full range targeted for young families and retirees. Environmental considerations in the development of this project as well. So he said that they were looking at green building standards, they were looking at cisterns and a variety of things like that. At a certain point, there was a discussion that, looking for community input into the local area plan, what out of the existing plan needs to be kept, what still needs work, what are the principles, and so on and so forth. So there's going to be a process starting next week about recruiting people for that. So there are multiple projects at work. So how do we ensure that there's equity in the community services available? And so some of them, they're still sorting out the issues, but there is a South Sewer initiative that is intended to provide for development, but also provide for responding to the failing septic systems in the areas. Another comment was around community character, making it a destination, finding a focal point in the community, maintaining the heritage of the community. It's quite an old community, built originally as a coal mining community. So then, the question again about community theme, could we do that, and can new buildings be built in the historical styles? And our understanding is that there are already development permit guidelines in place to do that, but as part of the review of the local area plan, we'll be looking at those. Other issues that came up that need to be addressed, the implications of the proposed coal mine. This area would be right downstream from that area, and there are implications around water quality for that, but also climate change. What does it mean for rising sea levels and the erosion of the shoreline? And so those are things that we will also need to be looking at.